This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
All right. Or whatever Big John says. Got some good news and some bad news for you OCST fans. So I guess I'll probably do the sensible thing and do the bad news first. So this is going to be a short episode. Do apologize. One of the audio files got corrupted and I can't use half of the episode. Good news is I'm going to be able to show you some footage from the general meeting that happened on the 21st and the swearing in. So look forward to that. It's coming up next. And then we have a special guest on from the Anaheim building, UPS. So hope you guys enjoy the show, and I do apologize for any of the inconvenience, and keep watching because we have some very good guests lined up coming up in the very near future. So we got you next week. All right, on to the show.
Be brief, which that didn't seem too brief to me. Secondly, it's an honor and a privilege to be here today. I want to thank, obviously, my partner, Fred Zuckerman. Without his vision 15 years ago when taking on the administration when it wasn't popular and helping us build this team and navigate through an international election, you have the best General Secretary Treasurer representing you in Washington, D.C. I also want to thank the Joint Council President, Randy Kamak, who has seen it all, done it all, done a great job. Building Joint Council to the density that is, I think, are 150,000 Teamsters strong, and leads the charge when it comes to representing members not only in California, but it's a joint council that should be emulated throughout this entire country. Also, I want to thank Eric Jimenez and his team for allowing us the opportunity to be here today, but more importantly for their loyalty when it wasn't popular to support our vision to take over this great international. And you know, the one thing that we focused on then and we continue to focus on now is the most important part of our international union, the most strong part of our international union. That is our rank and file members that go to work every single day. So, with that said, Eric asked me, because look, I think January is a month for resolutions. And most of these resolutions we don't follow through on. We make New Year's resolutions like we're going to go to the gym, we're going to eat clean, we're not going to drink, which I'm going to break every single one of them today. But the one thing that we need to always stay true to is the organization that has given us everything in our entire lives. An organization that I'm proud to be a fourth generation part of. And so the one New Year's resolution that I'm going to keep and I've kept for the last 50 years is a commitment to the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. So at this point in time, if we all could rise up and renew our obligation as members to this great institution, and if you would, and I'll read the paragraph and then I'll ask you to raise your right hand, but fellow worker, you will now take an obligation that will bind you to the International Brotherhood of Teamsters and this local union, and that will in no way conflict with your religious belief or your duties as a citizen. So if you could raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Pledge my honor to faithfully observe the Constitution and the laws of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters and the bylaws and laws of this local union. I pledge that I will comply with all the rules and regulations for the government of the International Union and this local union. I will faithfully perform all duties assigned to me to the best of my ability and skill. I will conduct myself at all times in a manner as not to bring reproach upon my union. I shall take an affirmative part in the business and activities of the union and accept and discharge my responsibilities during any authorized strike or lockout. I pledge not to divulge to non-members the private business of this union unless authorized to reveal the same. I will never knowingly harm a fellow member. I will never discriminate against a fellow worker on account of race, color, religion, sex, age, physical or mental disability, national origin, or sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other legally protected group. I will refrain from any conduct that would interfere with the union's performance of its legal or contractual obligations. I will at all times bear true and faithful to the International Brotherhood of Teamsters and this local union. I hereby affirm that the above listed language mandated by amendments to the IBT Constitution has been incorporated to Local Union 952 bylaws. Congratulations, we renewed our oath and our commitment to this union. Do sincerely promise, upon my honor as a trade unionist and a Teamster, that I will faithfully use all my energies and abilities to perform the duties of my office for the ensuing term as prescribed by the Constitution and bylaws of this union. As an officer of this great union, I will, at all times, act solely in the interest of our members, devote the resources of our union to furthering their needs and goals, maintain a union that is free of corruption, to preserve and strengthen democratic principles in our union, and to protect the members' interests in all dealings with employers. I will never forget that it is the members who put me here, and it is the members whom I will serve. I further promise that I will faithfully comply with and enforce the Constitution and laws of this international union and bylaws of this union. That I will, at all times, by example, promote harmony and preserve the dignity of this union. I also promise that at the close of my official term, I will promptly deliver any money or property of this union in my possession to my successor in office. Congratulations.
John, you ready or what?
You were in the middle of saying something.
We were talking about how, Sean had told everybody to.
Oh, the 35 and older.
Yeah, 35 and older. And what he was saying was where are all the young guys at? And it's our responsibility to educate this young rank and file coming up and knowing what a union is all about. And then after that, he said, all the people that were sitting down have already fought that fight, that have already put the time in, that have already gone through the bullshit with the company. And I think he was more directing because there was a lot of stewards there, a lot of older membership that was there.
He's looking for new people,
Correct.
new blood.
Well, and I don't think he's looking for new blood. And I think one of the things that we've talked about before on this podcast, and actually it might be a good time for you, Manny, to chime in because we've kind of all had the same thought about it. And granted, you can have a differing opinion, but at the same time, I've always held the belief that, like, look, I spent a long time in the part-time, 10 years, right? From 2002 to 2012-ish. I spent a lot of time there, and I never really felt like anyone wanted to, like, give me information or I should say, like, educate me, right, on what the union was, what they did for me, what protections I had, all that stuff. I felt like, and this is just my opinion, but I felt like the administration at the time, like, purposely did that because at the end of the day, part-timers don't vote. They don't. It's sad, but they don't. So you cater to your voting demographic or whatever, within a certain area. And we've kind of taken a different stance where we're trying to get out there and educate the members. Now, I don't diminish my blame in that because I take some blame in that, right? I should have been out seeking information and seeking, my rights and kind of learning and doing my own thing. And that's what we tell people. But nobody even told me to do that. Like, I didn't really, like, know. So that's why I know Sawas has said, like, coined a phrase, invest in yourself, right? Within this, aspect, right? So he's kind of said that, and that's one thing that when Sean said that, it was kind of eye-opening. There wasn't a lot of 35 and under there. I mean, dude, there's 250 people there, and there's 20 35 and under guys, and how many do we have? There's a shit ton of them. There's a shit ton of them. And, one of the things that I've started to say within my, Teamster Tuesdays that we do and the membership that I kind of I represent is act like you give a fuck. Act like you care. Like, this is your contract. This is my contract. At the end of the day, I could go back to the truck tomorrow. I tell these guys, act like you fucking give a shit. No one's going to care if you don't care.
Yeah.
The problem is that they don't care until it's too late. That's the fucking problem.
One of the first things he said, Sean, when he was up there, the very first strike issue was about the part-time. That was the very first strike point he talked about. He said the number was a little different than what I thought it was. I know in the past on this podcast, I said it was around 67%. He said it was around 63%.
Yeah, 63.
63% of the workforce was part-time. And he said with that one of the things that we needed to do was to educate the members. And then he also addressed the guys that were on their way out that say, I don't give a shit. I'm going to be gone in 4 months. I don't care. I'm going to be gone.
Yeah. I've come across a few people like that.
And
you have to care.
Yeah. And he was saying, like, look, you should care because this younger generation that are coming in, if we don't educate them, they will be in a position later to vote what could ultimately determine where you're going to be at in your pension. I know I did have some part-timers there, and they were really happy to hear that was the very first strike issue that he talked about was for the part-time, creating more jobs because technology was going to take a lot of jobs.
That's true.
And how, some of the part-timers that been there in the building for a long, long time, how we needed to capture jobs, combo jobs, full-time jobs, that some of the membership didn't want to go driving or couldn't do that work. But they put a lot of time and they deserve to have a full-time job. So a lot of the part-timers were excited because that was the very first strike issue that he talked about was the part-time. We need to take care of the part-timers.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I think going back to your point, Manny, you had that moment of clarity, correct me if I'm wrong, where you said, you know what? I got to pick up this book and I got to read it, which we call our contract, right? For me, what got me involved was I got fucked with a lot. I had on-road fucking dickhead named Dave Sanook. Fucking.
We had him.
Couldn't stand the motherfucker. And this was like, way before. But anyways, he fucked with me so much. And it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. And I did what you did. And I picked up the book and I got involved and I started coming to meetings. And ultimately, there was an election that came up and I put my name on to be a steward. And, I'm here where I'm at now. That's how it started. But it was because I was being fucked with,
Yeah. So I owe a lot to a couple of people who's taught me a few things along the way. Phil Rivera was one of them. Wayne Addison was one of them. Back in the day when Dave Peterson was a shop steward at the time, and learning from him, and a couple of the other shop stewards then that are not, a shop steward now, or some of them are still shop stewards, always came to me with if I ever had a problem or anything like that, I needed to learn how to do things. And this is when I first started out driving, because I was always afraid to make a mistake or not do enough, and to secure my job or anything like that. But not understanding what I had the rights to. And I did this way later, and I should have done this earlier on when I was in the warehouse while I was working unload and doing all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you're in unload, if you're freaking twilight, preload, whatever, learn the book then. That way you know what you're capable of. I learned it a little bit later than I should have, but the thing is I know now, and it's helped me to be or to get where I'm at this moment as a driver or, as an employee for UPS.
I'd like to clarify as a Teamster.
Yeah,
That's really, and that's, like I said, that's for me was the aspect that was missing. I didn't get that part. I didn't get what being a Teamster was. I didn't understand, and I didn't, and like I said, I hold my own blame for that, for sure. I was part of the union and I didn't say anything, but I got to give Sawas credit. Sawas has, even as a steward, would get up early and go in and try to educate members. And this is before he is in the capacity that he's in now.
I've even come to you for quite a few things myself.
And it's one thing that I really respected about him, that he didn't just say he cared. He didn't. He showed it. And, it's one of the things that I kind of jumped on his coattails, and one of the things that we started to do, and just to educate the younger guys. And he goes in, and granted, you have to understand as a person, just as a person, we have lives, we have stuff going on. And, there might not be times that we could be there every day at, 4 or 5 in the morning, but Sawas did a lot of that coming in. And I got to give him a lot of credit, because I see people that, before would not be educated at all. And that they understand, hey, Sawas is here. He's a business agent, or we have stewards. This is, what happens when we get in trouble, or how we protect ourselves. And there's just a lot more of that going on now. There really is.
And there's definitely room to grow and improve.
Always.
And my whole thing is, and I think, Manny, you can agree with this. Now that you have that knowledge, it's our responsibility to pass that along to the younger generation. I think you feel that way. Now that you know the stuff that you have to go out and you have to tell them, whether it's just working on your loader in your truck, the very first one, right?
Yeah, that's so I've had quite a few incidences in the past, and even recently. I've actually helped George with a few things that that he didn't understand. And I'm not a shop steward, but I've learned the book well enough to actually give my personal opinion and my advice to, what this reads like and how it's supposed to be said and done and everything like that. And like I've helped George, I've helped my preloader who was getting picked on by like a power hungry supervisor that was telling him that he was working too slow or anything like that. But, tell him that you're working safe, tell him that you need time study for whatever truck you're doing or everything like that, or if you want to teach them how to load and everything that way. I've even had a couple of people, that I've noticed certain drivers that are sweating their ass off because either they might have done something wrong or whatever the case may be. And I go up to them and I ask, even if I don't know them, I go up to them, I ask them, I'm like, hey, you seem stressed out. Are you all right? What's going on? This and that. Like I've want to make sure that everybody's okay, Like I've seen Sabas around, but I didn't know who Sabas was until like when I saw you in your sling and I came up to you and I asked if you were okay and how you were doing and everything like that. Because I've seen him
There's
around.
a story behind that sling.
Yeah. I've seen him around, but I never really interacted with him very much. Yeah. But it wasn't until like I saw him in his sling, like we're family there. You know what I mean?
We saw each other's face for many years. I knew your face. I didn't even know your name.
You didn't know who I was or anything like that. But I was concerned at the fact that, hey, he's hurt. I wanted to make sure he was okay. We as drivers and people here, Teamsters, everything like that, we make sure that we're okay no matter what the case may be, whether physically, mentally, we're supposed to be there for each other for everything. So if there's always a problem, you go up and say, hey, are you all right? And I will always do that no matter to who it is, whether I know you or don't know you. Yeah. That's how I've always been. It's like I said, when I came up to you and asked you about your arm, like I didn't really know who he was, but I've always seen him around, and I wanted to make sure he was okay.
And look, to me, that's kind of a good segue into like this next, and this kind of just came up, but into this thing I kind of want to talk about, and it's the politics of the union, right? And how there's a lot of divisiveness and a lot of stuff behind politics is in nature like that, right? It's kind of divisive. It's it's tough to deal with, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I can say that I always give everybody a fair shake, and I don't judge anybody for politics. I know our politics, mine and yours, might not have been, all on the same page at times, but I think we've always been cool, right? Yeah. And I'll say this out loud, like shame on the people that let the politics get in front of their relationships and get in front of helping people at the end of the day. Yeah. And I've had that personally, and I'm not going to name names. They know who they are. I've had people personally not talk to me anymore. I've had people, try to shun me or certain things for certain political beliefs that I might have within the the politics of the union. Shit, I've had them do that, and I've never. You can ask Salas, dude. I came into where I'm at now in the building that I'm at now, and I gave everybody a fair shake, dude. I didn't care who you voted for. I didn't care. Honestly, I didn't even really care if you supported me. I was going to give you a fair shake. At the end of the day, I'm only worried about one thing, and that's the membership and moving forward in the right direction.
Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, a voting majority gets to say, hey, and that's the direction we're going in now. Now I'm okay with, some criticism and or I should say constructive criticism and some input from everybody. That's no big deal. But at the end of the day, we're all still people. We all still, like you said with Salas, you saw him in his sling and you're like, hey, are you okay? Is everything good?
I haven't known him for like I said, I've seen his face, haven't known him for too long. I saw him in his sling. I was just worried about
You should hear the stories about what he tells about seeing me for so long.
I've known you two for a long time. I've known George when he was thinner. I've known you when you were a lot huger.
Whoa, I gotta go where you say.
That's the truth.
I've known George when he was thinner. I've known John when he was a lot huger and everything like that. But
that's true.
You guys are both fat asses.
You lost a lot of weight, George.
Fat as fuck. I gained a lot of weight.
Manny, it's okay to say that.
Sorry, man.
Manny, it's okay to say that they were both fat asses. It's all right.
Hey, it's very. Okay.
Hey, how many months are you?
How about that? That's what happens when you get off the truck, man.
But like I said, I mean, we're all about like putting the pieces back together. At the end of the day, if we say, God forbid, but say we do go on strike, I got to stand there next to this guy. And that's the thing that I never understood is that I got to stand there next to this guy's my brother. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's fighting for the same thing I'm fighting for. And our political beliefs aside, it is what it is. Eric Jimenez won the race by a fucking landslide. I'll say that right now. It is what it is. I don't harbor bad feelings, but and I've actually said this to a couple people. Don't be fucking childish. I'm a fucking man. You're a man. If I say hi to you or what's up, don't be a fucking dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean that genuinely, because the politics is aside for me. You know what I mean? I care about people. I care about, you and your personal life and who you are. And I know outside of all that politics, you're still, my union brother, you're still my union sister. I'll say that. And it is what it is. We need to come together.
I agree, and I've mentioned this before in the podcast that the company doesn't give a fuck because they have one goal in mind. It's the union that has kind of divided.
Fuck us.
Yeah, the union is kind of like divided right with politics, and they're using that.
Oh, they love
us.
that shit.
They do love that, and it's like we need to fucking just come together at the end of the day. Political beliefs all aside. Like I know we talk about this at length, and just. We need to fucking, because I mean, like you said, we're gonna be together in that picket line if it happens.
Yeah, Sean brought that up at the membership meeting too. Yeah. He brought that up, and Eric brought that up. And we can have differences of opinions, but at the end of the day, we have to stick together. We got one of the hugest contracts coming up, and it's just not UPS. Everybody's watching. Everybody's watching,
Corporate America's watching.
Yeah.
All the other unions are watching.
All the other
what
unions are watching.
What we're going to do. I mean, we have the biggest CBA, collective bargaining agreement, in the United States. And I'm referring to UPS.
Had articles on TV and
so, like I said, I think, and part of it might be a generational thing. Part of it might be where you come from thing. I know where me and Sawas come from. If you have a problem, you're a fucking man and you go deal with it. You go handle it. You go tell the person straight to their face. You're not talking shit behind their back. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You want to handle. I mean, even if it needs to come to, whatever it needs to come to, it is what it is. You get it out there. You're a man. I'm a man. Hey, we can discuss, or we can do whatever whatever needs to be done.
A hopscotch tournament.
Hopscotch tournament.
Yeah.
We
you
can
are old.
flip a coin.
I only got one good leg, man.
He was about to
only
say
got one good
double
leg.
Dutch. He was
Double
going to do
Dutch.
double Dutch.
Oh man, why does it have to? Can we jump? Can we do something with arms, please? My legs don't work that well.
Play Xbox.
Well,
right,
no,
there we go.
marbles.
Well, we're kind of
There you go, marbles. I'm down with marbles.
We're kind of running long, guys, but we did want to hear one last story, Manny. You promised us a story, so story time down here at the bottom. But tell us the finger story.
So I got
could show the camera.
Yeah.
You might not be able to see it too much, but
Just flip off the camera. Flip
there
off
you
the
go.
camera.
You see
There
this
you
little
go.
bulge on here? That's not supposed to be
He's
there.
got a
guys.
frog. He's got a frog
Yeah.
finger. He's got a frog finger.
If I put them together, I'm actually missing that much of my finger, and that actually happened at UPS. I was an unloader at the time, and
So when we talk about putting our blood, sweat, and tears and giving our body for our,
I actually
Manny did literally give a portion of his body,
a portion of my blood.
Body for his paycheck.
And I'll tell the story. So I was at the end of pin 3, putting the boxes onto the belt in between, like the wires and
You went
everything
to go
like
assist
that.
The pen at the end of the day,
At
right?
the end of pin 3 and everything like that. So I was putting the boxes in the wires and everything like that, and supervisor was telling me to do so, and so I did so. He said, if it's too heavy, don't put it up there. And me, nothing was really too heavy for me at the time. I was like 20, 22 or some shit like that.
Like 60 pounds, it can go up there.
It basically is what I felt like. So I had this crate one time. It was the black crates where, like they put the cameras in and all that kind of stuff.
Pelican crate.
Yeah, those freaking things. And it got stuck in between the wires. So I couldn't get it through to go back down the line. So supervisor said, all right, just back up and let it go. So when I backed up and let it go, I had my hand on a beam that was sitting right next to it. So as the crate came down, it actually hit one of the wires and flipped. And when it flipped, it smashed my hand, literally the tip of the hand. And it hurt so fucking bad, but I shook it off. I was like, all right, I'm good. I was wearing gloves at the time. I was actually wearing my 49er gloves at the time, guys.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Go Cowboys. I'll say
I
it
had
on
to
the
throw
fucking
that in
podcast.
there.
No, that's
Go
fine,
Cowboys.
I will say you guys are going to win today.
But I had my gloves on at the time, and I shook it off like, you get bumps and bruises at work, you shake it off, and you keep on working. So I didn't think much of it. So we went back to work.
Liquid in his glove.
And that's kind of where I'm coming from. I went back to work, and then when I was sorting some of the packages, my hand felt kind of funny, but I figured it's because I got it smashed, so it's going to feel that way or whatever, so I didn't think much of it.
Kind of numb.
So, yeah, it just
painful.
felt kind of like awkward. It wasn't like painful or anything like that. It was just like, not like sore, but like almost bruisish kind of at the
Yeah,
time.
like you can't really feel it. So you're like.
So the thing is, I didn't
you
even
can't
know
feel
what
it's
was
missing.
going. I didn't know what was going on until I noticed that I was leaving red marks on some of the boxes. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I noticed that the tip of my glove is actually leaking blood. So I'm like, what the hell is happening here? So I took off my glove.
Fingers on
Took
his
off
period.
my glove. I noticed that the skin portion towards where the top of the nail is completely gone, and all that's sticking up is bone. And once I actually saw my finger,
That's when all the pain came.
that's when all the pain shot up to my goddamn brain. That's when all the pain shot up to my goddamn brain. And I was like, son of a bitch, this and that. I was hurting so fucking bad. I grabbed my finger because it was leaking a lot of blood. I went to go find a supervisor. Supervisor saw it. He goes, fuck. And then he just takes me to the front and everything like that. And they gave me
Take some Tylenol. You'll be good.
paper towels. So they gave me paper towels, right? So I let go of my finger to grab the paper towels. But as I let go of my finger to grab the paper towels, there was a line of blood that shot out, that squirt out from my finger. And I was
Like
like,
a
oh,
movie, right?
shit.
It's like-
And then I fucking put my hand back on, and everything like that. So they're like, one dumbass supervisor goes, should we take him to the doctor? I'm like, what?
Well, I thought I thought you were going to say they wanted you to do DOKs on the computer.
No, it was even worse.
how did you
It
fuck
was even
up?
worse.
His bone is
Should
showing.
we
Let's,
take him
let's,
to the
should we give him
doctor?
a warning letter right
Yeah,
now?
we're going to give him a warning.
The
letter.
other supervisor looks at it and
Signing
he
your
goes, are you stupid? So they I wrapped everything up. They're walking me outside and they sat me on the bench that was out. There was a bench out there in front of
As you're
thing.
passing out.
I was actually sitting because I had already got off the clock. I'm outside where the customer counter was. They used to have benches there. We used to have because they have an ashtray. We used to have cigarettes there after work. And I was sitting there having a smoke, and Manny walks out with the soup, holding his hand. We're like, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, "I cut the tip of my finger off." What?
So I'm actually
Fucking
sitting.
gross.
So I'm actually sitting down on the bench, shaking my legs, smoking like a couple or a few cigarettes at the time because of what's going on.
Yeah.
And then Gerard walks out.
Oh,
Gerard walks out. Manny, are you okay? He's all like, cut my tip of my finger off. So that sucks, man. You won't be able to use that for a while. And then I told him, I'll still beat you at basketball. So, but
A lot of shit. Talking a lot of
but
shit there.
yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't
He was
shy
pretty-
about
he
it.
was pretty coherent considering he just lost the tip of his finger.
Yeah.
So they put me in the car. They took me to the emergency room, and the finger was still in the glove, but they couldn't attach the finger because it's pretty much dead already because it wasn't on ice or anything
wasn't
like
on
that.
ice, yeah.
So what they did was they had to clip off the tip of the bone to pull the skin over the finger and then sew it up that way. But first they had to clean it. So there was a male nurse that came in to clean my finger first, and he had to give me shots to numb it. So they gave me the shots to numb it. Then they're like, okay, that should be good. I'm like, can you feel this? Can you feel this? I'm like, a little bit. They're like, oh, don't worry, it'll go away. So he starts getting this like little scrub or whatever, and he doesn't like pat down to try to clean. No, this guy is fucking rubbing and everything like that, right? So he rubs, and I yell, and I punch him in the arm. I actually physically punched this guy in the arm. I told him, I am so sorry. And I'm so sorry. And he goes, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's fine. And then he gets up to walk away, But when he gets up to walk away out the door, he leans his shoulder and grabs his arm like this because I punched him like literally right there in between. So after they stitched me up and they pulled it over and everything like that, they told me that I would probably not be able to grow a nail again. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll grow a nail. They're like, okay, but just let you know, you probably won't get a nail there anymore. So after that, I was just hoping to God I would fucking grow a nail there just so I can have that fucking little peace of mind for myself. Not that there's anything wrong with not having one. It's just for me, for my own mental state and everything. I just was
That's a
hoping
weird
for
conversation to have when you're getting your nails.
But
It's gone.
but I actually
UPS owns that nail now.
So here's the thing. This is something that I didn't understand, which you guys can actually share about this. 3 days later, I actually came back to work. 3 days later, I came back to work. I wasn't allowed to pick up anything or do anything like that. But I came back to work, and I was actually a passenger to go to Ontario and back
I remember that.
with Jose.
Yeah, true.
So I did that for every day.
So you were on TAW.
Pretty much. I was doing that every
So you
day.
can get
But
on
the
the
thing
carpool
is,
lane.
Yes.
what I didn't learn about that kind of thing, because I felt like I needed to go to work, was that I could have gone on disability, or I could have gone and done some other
Well, no,
thing.
you would have went on
workman's comp.
Well, workman's comp.
Yeah.
Workman's comp is what I could have done in
Yeah.
anything like that. But I wasn't very knowledgeable at the time. I didn't know any of these kind of rules or stuff like that
Yeah.
because I was so fresh and so new. Like I said, UPS was my
Yeah, but
second
you got to see
job.
a whole different aspect of the job, though.
But I did get to see a different
But
aspect
like,
of the job.
see, this
but-
is kind of what like,
And
like
that's
what
why I was trying to
saying
bring it up. That's
is
why I was
that,
trying to bring
you
it
know,
up.
You should have been
just-
compensated for that too.
And that's another thing that I didn't realize to learn while I was there.
And this should have been something, to be honest. And I don't know who they were. And I'm not talking shit. I'm not going to say any names. Please don't. But that's something, you know, your steward or your business agent at the time should have been on top of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, number one, with all that trauma, your steward should have known what was going on. And if he didn't know how to take care of it, he should have gotten in contact with the business agent. The business agent should have been involved. And believe me, even now, we still have some scenarios where a member will get hurt or something will happen. We don't know about it, right?
Yeah.
So I get that part too. I'm not, like I said, that's why I don't want to name any names because I don't know the exact scenario.
Yeah.
But that is something that the union should be involved in, educating you, getting you, you know, just getting you the information and advice that you need.
And what I tell the membership is when you get hurt, you grab a steward and you report the injury.
Obviously, you couldn't grab anybody.
So, but that's in that sense, though, now you get to share that knowledge if you're in the hub and a preloader hurts himself and, you know, maybe to that severity, but, you know, you get hurt on the job, you should be compensated for it, period.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't feel scared to report it. You shouldn't feel
Well, yeah, that was the thing that I felt a little bit afraid to do anything
Right.
other than come back to work. You know?
yeah.
yeah.
So that's why, and that's why, like I'm saying this now. You know, whether it's minor injury to a severe injury, definitely go up to a shop steward, see what you're able to get for anything like that, because you may not know, you have no idea. So I freaked out. I was young. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything about it.
So let me, just a quick question before we end, and I appreciate your story. It was actually really funny. But do you see a difference from the time that you were there in the past to what I believe this administration is trying to do, is to educate the members, starting with the part-timers? Do you see a difference, I mean, in the representation part of it?
I actually see quite a bit of a difference. Beforehand, nobody would really talk to us too much or tell us about what it is that we're able to do or anything like that. Nowadays, we actually have more people coming out and reaching out and telling us, you know, what we can do. And then we have like you guys being able to reach out to many more of us to tell us what we can be, you know, other than just an employee there, but a family as a whole. What we're able to
active members
active members, you know, what I mean?
and the presence. I think that's what I was asking. Like, I think that we're very present as an administration, showing our faces in there, letting the membership know that, you know, if you get fucked with, we're going to stand behind you.
You have representation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot more information about the union, about the shop stewards, about Teamsters and everything nowadays than I did before when I first started working at UPS.
It was non-existent.
It was
We
non-existent.
worked in the same area.
Yeah,
I still to this day don't even know who our shop steward was.
Apparently me, because I saved your job once. So.
Yeah, with your mouth.
So-
Good job.
With your mouth.
But
No,
you know,
keep going.
But yeah, no, for sure. Like back then, I wasn't informed about anything really. There was nobody to come up and talk to me about anything, man. But
And there's still members like that. But I think as a whole, you know, there has been some movement, and we want to continue that movement. We've talked about it before. It's one of the things that this show is for. It's one of the things that I started my meetings in Laguna. It's one of the things that Sawas goes in super early in the morning to all the shifts or late at night to do the twilight. Just some of the things that didn't happen before. And by all means, dude, I understand, and we understand from this, you know, from this level, from this viewpoint, is that it's a lot of fucking work. Yeah. It's a lot of fucking extra work, and it's hard. And I don't, you know, I'm not, like I said, we've never been here bashing people. That's not the point. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of fucking work.
It is.
And if we have members like yourself that are willing to speak up and help us educate the membership is really what we need. So
I'm definitely going to do the best I can. I learned the book as much as I could, and I still try to reach out for information, but anybody that I can help, I will always help.
And honestly, look, I mean, I think, you know, we've had a great show, and we've had some good conversation. I love it. Off the clock shop talk, right? We've had some drinks, hung out. And I kind of want to end the show with this. And what do you guys think? Like, really a charge, right? A charge to you guys, to ourselves, because I don't like to give charges that aren't to myself as well. And a charge to get out there and to share information and to share, you know, what being a union member is, and to share your knowledge, right? To share all those past experiences that we all have gained in the, you know, 20 plus years that we've all been there or whatever. A charge to, like Sean said, to the 35 and older crowd. Where are you? Where
Younger-
are you?
younger
Are you-
crowd.
Younger crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah,
30.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, excuse me.
35 and younger
crowd. You know, where are you? Where are you? Are you coming to your meetings? Are you getting involved? Are you investing in yourself, as we say? I mean, you know, me and Sawas always talk about, you know, one member at a time. I think it's another coin Sawas phrased, or a phrase Sawas coined. You know, and he does that quite a bit. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It's invest in yourself. Where are you? What are you doing? It's not just about what your administration's doing. You are the union. We've talked about it before. So just a charge to all you guys. You know, you guys,
It's only
any
2 hours. It's
closing
only 2 hours
thoughts?
of your day to
Yeah.
go to a general meeting and then know what's happening in your local.
Any closing thoughts?
I just want to say, fuck John. And with that said, I think I'm
First of all, everybody knows the theme of the show, and the theme of the show is fuck Sawas.
Yeah.
Fuck Sal. Is that what the theme of the show
That's
is?
the theme of the show.
I'm not gonna say that because I fucking like this guy. So.
Thank
So do
you,
I.
Manny.
Doesn't matter.
So do I.
We
4 fingers, Manny. Hey,
Right on.
that gecko finger in your pocket.
I think that's all I got.
As always, thank you guys. We appreciate you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out the last one. We love that one with Jeff. We're going to do another one on the benefits and whatnot.
Wine
The
garden
wine
rights.
garden rights. But, you know, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Invest in yourself. Get out there. Be a union member. Share your knowledge. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Smash that fucking like button.
Share this
Subscribe and share.
And you can email us at ocst.000@gmail.com.
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks, guys.
All right.